morning on it here. I'm talking about today something different. I studied the Maya, and studying the Maya, it led me to the tale of the 9 lords of the underworld. Apparently there's an empire underneath our feet, and it's not only the Maya that talk about it, the ancient Irish talked about it, the Germans were infatuated with it, in as much as they went to the South Pole and went into the hollow earth. Apparently the earth is hollow. So here's the thing, I've been listening to all the stuff, a lot of stuff about the hollow earth, and they're bringing up Bible verses, one about Satan where he says he'd be going up and down, in and out of the earth when he was taught, when God asked him where he was, to and fro. But there's also another one that tells the story of the Germans going into the hollow earth. It's in Jeremiah. They left this one out, they overlooked it. It says, "O Dedan, dwell deep, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him at the time I will visit him." So the Dan tribe is the two of the Dan and the witches. So the Germans were studying all of this occult stuff, and they were contacting spirits, and they went to Tibet to find a way into the hollow earth. They said they made it there, it's recorded by them. But they went down to the South Pole, and when they went down to the South Pole, they said there's an entrance inside the earth, more than one. And there's mammoths, people recorded, there's other people that went down there recording seeing woolly mammoths. And after a while, when you cross the ice, all of a sudden you come across this big Jurassic Park looking jungle place with loads of strange animals and all. That's why you're not allowed to visit there. It sounds strange, you weren't taught about it in school. But here's the thing, that prophecy fulfills, that prophecy in Jeremiah, "Oh, the Dan dwell deep amongst the rocks and the caves." The Dan tribe are the Germans. The Nazis are the Germans. They're identified, how you identify the Dan tribe is Catholics. Yeah, everyone knows the Pope and all were giving Nazi signs and hanging around with Hitler, and they took all the money that was robbed by the Germans and put it into the Swiss banks. And now the Pope, the Vatican, the Jesuit generals are the richest enterprise on earth. Well, I don't know what's under the earth, but that's definitely it. So when it says, "Oh, the Dan dwell deep, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon you." First of all, you have to know what Esau means. Esau means red. Esau is described as being red. And God says, "Esau I have hated." God hates Esau. Yeah? So he's saying he hates communism. Because the calamity of the red did come upon the Dan. The Red Army invaded Germany, and all the German Nazis had to scatter down to the South Pole. There was a war, a battle down there. They took all the best technology down there. The Americans went down there and got their ass kicked. This is the story. They went down there with one of the top American ships. Next thing, a load of saucers popped up out of the water and started chopping the ships in half with laser beams. This is all well recorded. The ship went missing for ages to get repaired, and then they had to do ceremonies and all to retire it. But that's the prophecy fulfilled. "Oh, the Dan dwell deep in the caves, cliffs and the caves." So the story is that the Germans, about 1 million of them, or 500,000, they're not too sure, all the top Nazis, they scampered down to the South Pole and set up a base and took all the top technology, and they contacted some inner terrestrials. There's supposed to be a lot of hybrids down there, and this matches all of the ancient culture stories where the hybrids come out and they eat us. Have you ever seen that movie Pitch Black? That's based on the Bible, because in the Bible it says the sun and the moon will no longer give its light. So when that happens, it goes dark for a few days. Now the animals that live in the darkness of the abyss, because it'll be pitch black on the earth and there'll be no sun or anything like that, they might come out looking for dindins. That's where that comes from. So there's all sorts of stuff under the earth. It's not only what you can see here, and hundreds of cultures, Viking cultures. Olaf von Eriksson or something said he sailed into it. So there's loads of stuff down there they're not telling us about. Now the first fella, the British explorer to fly over the North Pole, he told a story about where he flew over a big entrance there as well. And there's loads of UFO disky type things reported off the coast of California. And there's also loads of Native American stories telling, and Irish, that there's loads of stuff, there's stuff under the earth, and there's races under the earth that are not us. So the human race, basically, your leaders, your governments, and especially your Roman Catholic Church, has its fist up your ass, but they're telling you they're picking your nose. You know? They're fisting you without your permission. Oh, well, it's not even without your permission, because most people don't give a fuck. They let them do it. They just do not care. They tell them any shit as long as they give them that paper. The God that they worship. Money. You know? But this is the last days, according to all the scholars who know stuff about Bibles and stuff like that. And they all say the same. Even the Islamic scholars say. And the Islamic scholars, the Jewish scholars, the Christian scholars, and even the heathen scholars are all in a unanimous place, mostly, that we're in the last days. And I agree with them 100%. So, and here's the other thing. Because the Archon, you see the churches and all, they're like a computer virus on the earth, and they affect time and they affect everything you age, because they're robbing your life force to keep the parasites that live above us alive. So when you go into the earth, it'll seem like you're only in there for a day, but if you'll be in there for a fucking 100 years or something. This is the stories that they all tell. Most of the people who come back with the stories of going into the earth, they go into the earth and they think they're only there for a while, and when they come back they're after being there for hundreds of years. The time is different. But that is easily explained if you know biblical. It's because after the flood, when the giants used up all the requisitions of man, building the moon. You see, the moon could actually be the planet Nibiru. And all they done, well, this is like how they could have done it. This is what they said was Nibiru. They built the moon using the giants and used up all the requisitions of man. Made up the story about Nibiru and then stuck the moon up in the sky. Sounds really fantastic, but when you look at Woe Wayne and Mankapu, the giants that Craig Mucho talks about, they're 3,000. They were taller than the tallest skyscrapers today. They were the ones that were engineered in a lab by the Prince of Tyre to create the moon for them. And they used up all man's requisition, building the moon and building the tower, and they had the Tower of Babel as well. So there was lots of stuff going on, moons and Tower of Babel and giants. And most of the stuff that we know today is bollocks. To put it quite frankly, they told us nothing but shit. They hid all the stuff of real importance from us and created a fantastical lie to tell us all about. So when you look at a computer program, a virus has to attach itself to it. So if you look at the earth as the original computer program, and then you look at all the temples and the synagogues and the mosques, there's what's keeping the moon moving away from us. There's another verse, I think it's in Jeremiah as well. It says the moon will no longer withdraw itself, about the rising of the kings. We're in that time now for the kings to rise. Because the Gentile kings, the people that say that prophecy's already been fulfilled. It hasn't, because God tells us how to know if it's being fulfilled. He said the moon will no longer withdraw itself. Anyone that knows anything about the moon knows that it moves away from us. It's constantly moving away from us. And that matches the description of the throne of the Prince of Tyre in the Bible. He said, I will ascend my throne above the clouds and be like the Most High. He says he's going to be an imposter of Prince Michael, who is like the Most High. That's what his name means. He who was like the Father. He was like the Most High. It's a lot of information that sounds a bit wacky. Fact is stranger than fiction.